If I believe there's a reason for this pain I'm going through, if I believe that leaving me was all that you could do, if I believe that I can feel you by my side, I'll make it through the night. If I believe that time will teach me how to find my way, if I believe that broken hearts grow stronger every day, if I believe that now you're dancing across the sky, I just might get by. If I believe that memories won't always hurt this much, if I believe that I will see your face again, I can wait till then.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm Judy from Somerville Overcoming Addiction, and I'd like to welcome our two guests tonight, Pat Medeiros from Cambridge Overcoming Addiction, as well as Naranon at Spalding Rehab in Cambridge also. Right. And for Nancy, also a member of Somerville Overcoming Addiction. She's here to talk about her nephew, Christopher Souza. Welcome to the show, everybody.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yes, their first time today, so it's going to be really good.
Yes.
So I'm going to start with you, Pat, and
okay.
Just basically ask you what your story is and how you came about and what do you do? What is what's going on with Cambridge Overcoming Addiction?
Well, mine started with my daughter, who's now been passed to be 7 years in July. And she had 20 years of heroin addiction, and I tried my hardest to help her, and she just couldn't get out of that darkness. She ended up passing from her drug addiction. I raised her 3 children, and I started a Naranon group. First I went to one in McLean Hospital in Belmont, and then after I went there a couple of times, I was able to start my own group, which was Naranon. So I started the Naranon group, and it's for families and friends of people who have addiction, to help them understand that it's not their fault that their child or husband, wife, brother, sister is an addict. They have to learn how to take care of themselves. So after we started doing that, I've known Nancy. Nancy was part of our group for a long time, and then she extended out to do Somerville Overcome Addiction, but we still kept in touch. So when Nancy started doing the vigils along with you and Joanne, I said, I'm going to start doing one in Cambridge.
Right.
So my vigils in Cambridge haven't been that well. I guess we don't have addiction in our city. I just had my last one, which was my 6th one, and there was very few people there. I was very disappointed. So I don't know how to bring this, to people's attention to say addiction is rampant no matter where you live. Whether you live in Cambridge, Somerville, Boston, Watertown, it's there.
Right.
And people really need to realize that we've got to get into the schools to help these kids understand, even at a young age, that even smoking pot is not good. And then because sometimes from pot they go to a different type of drug, and sometimes it's peer pressure from the older kids. And I just feel that without the city of Cambridge saying we need to get into the schools, which they're not going to do. Why? I don't know.
And Somerville's the same way, Pat.
Really?
The same way. It's like pulling teeth.
Right.
They use this form of education. I'm not really sure what it is. Joanne's good at all that stuff. They're teaching the wrong level to the wrong age group.
Right.
And they're so worried about the high school kids, and they want to start at 6th grade. And I'm like, you should be starting at 4th grade.
Exactly.
Because by the time they get to 6th grade, these kids already know. I think the biggest close your eyes and make pretend that there are drugs at all the schools, including the middle schools.
Right.
There's drugs there, and I'm thinking Somerville is Cambridge, Cambridge is Somerville.
Right.
For the amount of work that you do, and you've been doing it for a very, very long time, it's disheartening to think that people either, as I feel, either I wasn't worth it, you coming here, or my child or everybody's child, they weren't worth it to come here. And it's hard to kind of separate yourself from getting angry about it, because your child is everything to you, and it's like it's a time to come out and remember.
Right.
So
yeah,
I feel for you there. I do. I really do. I'm going to put out a plug though too right now. We're doing a statewide vigil because of people not being recognized
exactly.
in their own cities. It will be August 31st, 2018 at the Boston Commons. It's called Statewide Vigil. I gave you the information. You can pass it on to Pat. We're looking for volunteers. We're actually looking for people at the table for the resources also. Bring your pictures. Bring your Cambridge. Bring your people, and join with the rest of us, so that we're not standing there 10 people deep. That we'll be standing there 10,000 people deep.
Exactly.
Because and it's hard because sometimes we suffer stigma ourselves in our own way with our own groups. You don't go to my vigil, I'm not going to go to your vigil. Well, why is their name in our vigil and it's everywhere? It's like, because people want their loved ones to be remembered.
Exactly.
Because all lives matter and mattered.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
yeah. So you do your group. You do your group on what days?
On Wednesdays.
Where?
Wednesdays from 7 to 9 at the Spalding Hospital.
At the Spalding Hospital.
1575 Cambridge Street in Cambridge.
Okay. Now that's that was a
Uvail
Hospital. Oh, okay. Isn't there's another one there? Isn't there too?
Learn to Cope.
Learn to Cope
On
is
Monday.
there on Monday. That's great that you got in there, because you
Right.
were doing it
At the Salvation
at
Army.
the Salvation
But they're
Army.
remodeling now.
Oh, okay.
So once they finish, we'll go back.
You'll go back. Okay.
But they were nice enough at the Spalding to let us use the room.
That's great.
Yeah.
And it's not really, is it a big difference between locations? Yeah, I guess it would be, right? Because you were more
Yeah, it's a
Central
little
Square, right?
Yeah, this is more up on toward Cambridge Street side.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
but people have been able to find it. We've had a pretty decent group.
And you've always had a
Yes,
really
for 21
pretty,
years I've been doing it.
yeah, you've always had a really good group,
Yeah,
which is
so,
great.
Good.
That's
But I'll continue to do it until, my
right.
time comes.
Until your time comes. Right. No, I know that the passing of your daughter. That must have been hard.
Yes.
That must have been hard, because it's no. Did you start? You had the group before that,
Yes.
didn't you? All
Yes.
right. So through your battle with her, you still reached out and tried to help
Yes.
other people in their battle, which is
Yeah, because people will
it's
say
a
to me,
warrior.
a lot of people will say to me, why do you still do it? Your daughter's passed. But I look at it this way, I can give hope to someone. I mean, I had hope for my daughter, but she couldn't get out of that darkness.
Right.
You know, I mean, I tried everything. In the meantime, I'm raising her 3 boys. So it was hard.
Right.
You know, but, you know, she's at peace now. Her chains are gone and she's been set free. She's no longer in her addiction.
Right.
You know, I mean, we think about her, we love her, and now she has 3 grandsons.
Oh my goodness.
You know, her son has 3 boys,
Right.
and I look at those boys and say she should be here, you know, appreciating them and, you know, being involved with them, but she can't be.
Right. And it's kind, you know, and it's kind of awkward too, because when people don't realize, you know, with addiction, even if they're here, they're not.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, it's like you never I think the hardest thing sometimes is that, you know, you grieve someone that's still alive, and
Right.
you know that too, because it's like you see this person and you get to think to yourself, and you know, that's my child.
Right.
It resembles my child, looks like my child, sounds like my child, but it's not
Exactly.
my child.
Right.
And you know, and it's like you're forever changed.
Right. Because the drug takes them over.
Because the drug takes them
You know,
over.
I mean, I used to say to people, I know that's her, it is her, but that demon inside of her has taken her over. But somewhere inside of her, she's still there, but she never was able to resurface again to come back to life.
Right. No, and I noticed too that because I've gone to a couple of your meetings and stuff, that I always thought that it was really cool that they were older. They were older people that some people would never think that their children suffered, because people think of 20-year-olds. You know,
Right.
well, we have 40 and 50-year-olds.
Right.
And maybe even, you know, some older. And I think that that's nice that an older person can find comfort into being with, you know, people of their age, and
Right.
they're not sitting in a room with a bunch of young, you know, mothers, but which wouldn't be a bad thing neither, because with age comes wisdom, as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly.
And we were talking earlier about being able to just let go, and it's not the fact that we don't love anybody,
Right.
and that it's just to the point where you can't do anything unless they
Right.
want to do something
Right.
themselves.
Yeah, and that's very difficult because, like I said, with my grandson, I was his lifeline. But then when he tried to kill me 3 years ago, I had to let him go.
Right.
I couldn't continue that path with him because I wouldn't be here.
Right.
So when I get the calls, like, you know, with his overdoses and whatever, I respond back. I just say, is he okay? And they'll say, yes, he's fine.
Yeah.
And this latest episode, like I said, I got the call. I just asked. They said they had to do surgery and all that. But he was going to be in there for, you know, I think he was in there maybe about 5 or 6 days, but he went right back to the grandmother.
Right.
Yeah, which is not a good, but.
Right, because, you know, and at one point you need to have constants.
Right.
You know, you have to have boundaries.
Exactly.
And it's kind of an unequal balance. I always said I'm two-faced when it comes to my child. I'm so very two-faced. I'm one person, no, I'm not having it here.
Right.
And then I'm hugging them. I love you so much because I don't want to let go. But you can't do this, and
Yeah.
but I love you, and it's
Well,
hard.
that's normal. You're a mother.
It's hard.
Yes, it's normal.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
No, it's not.
It's not an easy thing when you're a parent to see your child, like to me, like going down a drain and you can't save them to take them back up from the drain.
Especially when they're swirling and they're
Exactly.
touching you every
Exactly.
time, and it's like you just can't
Right.
get that
Right.
grip, you
Yeah.
know?
And like I say, if people who don't live this disease have no clue what it's like. They honestly don't.
They don't.
They can say what they want to say
Yeah.
and, you know, throw all kinds of stones and stuff at you, but they don't live it.
I tell everybody, you can't make this shit up.
Exactly.
You can't. You
No,
really
it's true.
can't. And well, we've had many, many people from many walks of life on the shows. we had one woman on, her son went to California. She woke up one night, hitting her stomach like, oh my God, something's wrong, something's wrong. She gets on a plane from here, flies to California, rents a car, and starts driving all over, looking for him. She found him.
Wow.
She found him. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. What were you thinking? I was just, he needed me.
Yeah,
I
have
know
parents
he
that done
needed,
that.
and I'm like, that's so bizarre. I mean, that's crazy to think that this woman rolled out of bed, went to Logan Airport, hopped on a plane.
Well, I wouldn't do that, but I've done that for looking for Bernadine. I've
Right.
done that.
Oh, I've,
Or she'd call me and say, you know, I don't know where I am or whatever, and then I'd find her and, you know,
Right.
whatever.
yeah,
But I've done that, so. And my son and my grandson, so.
right. And it's almost like when when are you going to be able to rest?
Exactly. That's why I don't no more. I just place it all in God's hands and let them go. I can't help them anymore.
Right, right, and right. That's so sad. So you do you do your meetings on
Wednesday,
Wednesday nights at what time?
7 to 9.
7 to 9, and it's open to the public,
Yes, it
correct?
is.
So that anybody can go there
As
and
long as you
stuff
have
like
addiction
that.
in your family, you're able to attend.
Oh, yeah,
Because what's in the meeting stays its confidentiality.
right. Because do you go by the big book? Is that the
Yes.
12 steps?
12 steps,
Okay, all
yep.
right, okay.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
And then Nancy, Nancy's one of us. She
Proud
is.
member of Somerville
Yes.
Overcoming Addiction and continues.
Yes, and yes, and Nancy's got a very different story about addiction, and I'm gonna actually let you tell this story. Some of you at home are gonna be like, "Oh my God, that it's totally amazing that you are a part of Somerville Overcoming Addiction and what has happened to your family."
Yeah.
And that you continue on helping people with this sickness, knowing that it's brought great pain to you guys.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let Nancy take the floor.
Okay, it was November 23rd of 2009. I got a call from my mom. Something happened to Christopher. Ran home.
Now, Christopher being your nephew.
My nephew
Okay.
that lived in the projects.
Yeah.
That I grew up at.
Mm-hmm.
And they found him like he took his life. And he did it. From day one, they had a person of interest, Mike Barnett, and it took 5 different times to finally get him in jail, and 5 DAs to finally get a case, even though it was circumstantial, and it took the dedication and not giving up of Detective Paul Duffy, Detective Katie McDade of Somerville Police Station, Trooper Saunders of the DA's office, and what happened was 2 years into Christopher's death, we heard about Louis D. Brown Peace Institute, and what it is it started 20-something years from Louis D. Brown's mom. He was going to a meeting, he wasn't in the gangs, and got shot. And she started this, and she still does, and she helps anybody affected by homicide in Boston, Cambridge, whatever. So we got them, they helped us with a press release. We got Bob Ward to call us, to have me and my sister on, came to a house and had us on. And through that, we got some, clues and stuff. And we got the call about 4 years, I think it was like 4 years ago, that they finally, indicted Mike or whatever. So he's going to court. First it was supposed to be April 23rd. And I had planned to go to, I had already planned to go to Florida to see my oldest godson graduate in honors. And his dad's in Georgia for capital murder with drugs, in and out of his life for drugs. And he is honors, he graduated, now he's in the Florida Police Academy. So I am totally proud of him, and it's not like that. With kids, they usually go the other way. So it turned out I was in for 3 days of the trial, which I guess was good, because if I had to do all 5, I don't know what I would have done. So we got June 9th, which was this past Saturday, 2014, Justice for Christopher. Mike Bennett is in jail for first-degree murder conviction. He's never getting out, which he deserves. And through this, and through knowing in life that anger eats you up inside, I wanted to do something and keep Christopher's name alive. So I went to Pat's meeting, and I met Shauna Conley and Dave Moulton, and they said people from Somerville's getting together about the addiction and stuff. So we met. I missed the first meeting. We met. Then we became Somerville Overcoming Addiction, and we raised $1,000 towards a reward, and nothing happened. So we sponsored our first Somerville Overcoming Addiction vigil. We got the shirts. We got everything in Christopher's name. And I continue to be a word for Christopher. And I won't stop doing that. You know, I'll be at vigils. We were at the Ryan Hamilton thing, Some Overcoming Addiction. Through that, me and Jane Fabiano started, and Dave and Shauna, but it became me and Jane Fabiano, Circle of Hope, at the police station on Mondays. And we helped some people, but no one from Somerville, because no one goes in their city. Addiction isn't in Somerville.
No, it's not in Somerville either. Yeah, it's the best hidden kept secret.
It's too bad because there is hope. Not every addict is a murderer. And I learned through Naranon is where I met Pat 20 years ago from an ex-boyfriend, addiction and all that. And I continued to Pat. And then we got together, and I got back with Jane, which is best friend, and Pat is Jane and myself's sponsor. So any issues and stuff. And then Pat wanted to do a vigil, and I said, just tell me what you need. We got all the T-shirts, we got everything. Cambridge Reprographics, Trisha Avakian did all the...
Thank you, Trish.
Yeah, all the shirts. To this day, this last one, she did the flyers and the booklets and stuff. And yes, I was very disappointed with the turnout.
Yeah.
It was all on Facebook. Everyone shared and everything, so people had notice and stuff.
Right.
The other couple were good crowd. But yeah.
I know Somerville last year, I think we had more volunteers than we did actual people that came. And then I committed the ultimate crime at the vigil. I forgot someone's name.
No.
And that has never happened to me before. I take quite a lot of pride in knowing everybody and things. And that was hard. That was a lesson learned. But like you said, they just
so
don't come out and I just don't understand why they don't.
And some names are continuing, like Pat has some Overcoming Addictions names.
That I read.
Right.
And then we have the email address to send names on Facebook or whatever, and stuff like that. as I was saying about the Circle of Hope. So me and Jane sat there for 6 months, me and Jane. And we got together and stuff, but still, you know, we decided, let's put it on Facebook. We get more response on Facebook. One, because they don't have to show their face.
Right.
You know, if they need resources or they need questions, there's always hope. There's never not hope. And addiction is a family disease. They get sick, you get sick. So the most important thing is taking care of you and getting the help you need. Naranon, Learn to Cope. Cheryl Delafonte has a
Family Anonymous.
Family Anonymous. Learn to Cope has Malden. There's a great one, Addict in My Family, on Tuesdays at Elm Street at the Elderly Center.
What is it called?
Addict in My Family.
Addict in My
It's
Family.
3 addicts on the, you know, on the board or whatever you want to call it. And they're mostly, it's 20 or more people, and it's mostly parents. And most of them know them. But that is one of the best things because they know what an addict is. We
Right.
don't know what an addict is. So they're honest. You know, they're, you know, and a lot of them, their families are, you know, they've been in recovery for years and years and years, but they know that they could help one person. I've gone there. I was at, in Winchester Hospital with my godson. He fractured his wrist, and I heard a woman and 2 guys, and they're saying when she's ready, she's ready. So I'm like, wait a minute here. So I went over, I said, can I ask, she said their daughter's, you know, overdosed or whatever. They're from Florida. She was in a program, she left. They found her, searched for her, and got her on a plane. Her dad lives here. And I asked her what it was, she didn't know. I said, I have Naranon if you want it. You know, they're gonna get her a bed maybe Monday. So I gave him Pat's card, Pat Gammon's card, and when I was leaving, or they were leaving, they were going back to the house. So my phone died, so I called Matt, 10 o'clock, doesn't know the number. Matt, you know, it's Matt, you know.
Yeah.
Matt's Nancy, you know, these parents, he said, it's late tonight, have them call me in the morning.
Right.
It's like God uses me. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm...
It was like they put you in the right spot at the right time, right?
You know...
And it's so funny how that happens, too. And it's because, I mean, you heard the words.
Yeah.
You heard the words, and it's like, okay. And instead of sitting there like, okay, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut.
No.
And no, you can't. At this point, you can't anymore.
Anything I hear or anything, if I know somebody, I tell them, you know, get the help. You know, if you need anything, especially a boyfriend, because 20 years ago it was my boyfriend, so I definitely know that. And when Pat has someone, she calls me, you know, because, you know, I'm a better person for it.
Yeah.
But I traveled that road and will never, ever, ever, ever go down that road again.
Right.
But being a part of Somerville Overcoming Addiction helps me deal with Christopher. And his older brother, Tommy, became Somerville Overcoming Addiction.
Right. And Tommy, if you're watching, hi, Mr. Shamrock, Tommy Shamrock.
And he always did those poems or raps and stuff at our vigil and stuff like that.
He rocked it every time, too.
Yeah, at open mic.
You know, and it's so funny, you're so you know, you get so insecure with yourself when you have to stand in front of these people. Every time he nailed it. Every time. And it was like...
But the one good thing about Cambridge is that the Cambridge Police have a program now called Partners.
Yeah.
Okay.
And at the vigil, they came to speak.
Yes.
The detective and the social worker and the recovering addict.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I know somebody that's struggling, I'll call the social worker, who's a woman, and she will get in touch with them and say, look, do you want us to help? We'll help out. And Jared, the gentleman that's been in recovery, he goes to the square, which we call the circle, which a lot of them hang out there.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll turn around and try to say, look, if you need help, I'm here. I'll help you out, put you in detox, whatever.
Right.
So that's one good thing the Cambridge Police have been doing. And Lou Cherubino, the detective, is the one he's one of the head guys.
Yeah.
Nice, because I know that they have something here in Somerville like that, but you need to be arrested
Yeah.
in order to fit their critique of helping you.
Okay. Well, this
As a
one they
beca-
don't.
Yeah,
No.
because I feel at this point you can't help him.
Yeah,
Right,
Yeah.
that's true.
At your point,
Mm-hmm.
there is probably more. I just love Somerville.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a great program, and I'm glad
Yeah.
that they
Yeah.
finally realized that.
And when did they start that?
I think it was maybe a few months ago they started
Yeah.
it. I don't know how they came about it. I just happened to see it in the Chronicle. I was reading the Chronicle, and I seen it, and I said, let me call up and find out what this is all about. So when I called, we went down and
Gotta
spoke
love
to
you,
him.
Pat.
Yeah, and I went
Yeah.
down and spoke to him. He must have sat with us for about 2 hours, telling us all about the program, what their goals were. He was glad that we came in to speak.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I know it's a shameful thing for a lot of people to admit their child is an alcoholic or a drug addict.
Yeah.
I said, well, I'm not, because I didn't cause it.
Right.
So I'm not ashamed of it. But, I mean, I think it's a fantastic program.
Yeah.
Right. That's
We need
really-
more of them.
Yeah,
Yes, we do.
most definitely. So
Yeah.
but not I.
Don't throw
so it's
them
a
in jail.
it's a big outreach if they actually
Right.
go out and do, because I know exactly
Right.
where you're talking about and how great is that somebody's going to come out and
And the
reach
other
out.
good thing about it is like I said to Nancy, is like I say, if you wanted to section your child, you don't have to do that no more. They do it for you, the Cambridge Police.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they don't, you know, before you had to go before the judge and say, hi, I'm the
Yeah.
mother or whatever. You don't have to do that. They do all that footwork for you.
All right.
Well,
That's
they get all the
great.
information,
Yeah.
and then they find
But
out
they
where-
won't. It's not a point, because I know that when a family member sections you, it's like immediate. Is it the same? It's
It's the
just
same, but it's
yeah.
not. You don't. Otherwise,
I
you
have
don't even have
never
to go to the
I have
courthouse
never
no
heard
more.
of that.
You don't have to go to the courthouse no more.
Right.
So once it's all done, he'll call you back, or whoever calls you back and says it's all been done.
Which I think is the hardest thing
Yes,
to do.
yes, it is.
Is to actually
Yes.
As a
turn
family.
because you know what's in store for them,
Yeah.
and nothing about
And you
it
know what
is
the
good.
backlash is going to be. So, and I've had that even in courtrooms, the backlash.
Oh yeah, I've been
So-
called quite a few choice words,
Right,
you know.
right.
And I just look and tell everybody I wear many hats and I
Exactly.
rock every
That's
single
right.
one of them, you know.
That's-
So
there you go. Yeah. You don't have to be the cat in the
yeah,
hat.
right, right. And you know, Nancy, I know that it's hard too, because like when we speak of Christopher, we're a very small knit community. Michael Barnett was our friend. They were our children's friend. He was my
Yeah.
son Jimmy's best friend
Yeah.
for many years, along with his girlfriend, his mother, and
Yeah.
his other brothers.
Right.
Yeah.
And to have kept that secret on him, because he actually got away with it for quite a long time.
Yeah.
None of us knowing that he did such a thing. And I think that when everything came out and the lid was blown off of it, and I know that the Deanna Crimmins murder was also was also there, which to this day is still unsolved.
Yes.
Right.
Which is shameful,
I know.
It is.
very shameful. And that you were so blessed to have
Yes.
gotten what
Justice.
what you have in justice. But you know, in a small ironic way, that it's like it just didn't touch it. It was everyone lost.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everyone lost in that.
Yes.
And I've known Michael, like I've known Christopher. I've known Christopher his whole life. I know Michael his whole life.
Yeah.
Never in a billion years, for $1 billion, if you had told me that he would have murdered Christopher, would I have ever believed
Right.
it? There was not a mean bone in that kid's
Right.
body.
No, when I
He was just they were friends. they were friends, and it's just such a sad, and
is.
it's a no-win situation for absolutely anybody, and not too many people talk about it because everybody's so connected.
Mhm.
It's like, wow, that's hard because, I know the Medeiros, and they're really good friends of my family. But, Mike's my friend. But how could Mike have done that to Christopher? And I think it's even weirder that when it's talked amongst the kids, now they're adults now, always first names.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like Mike, and it's Chris, and it's this,
Yeah.
and it's that, and can you believe that this one did that? And it was like through the years, it was like it was like their own demise, kind of, that
Yeah.
it must have wore real heavy on Mike
Yeah.
that he did that, and that with just little things people would say, and other people would catch it. But I could not imagine how your family felt when they found out who did it.
Yeah. Well, he was a person of interest from day one.
Oh, from day one.
Day one.
Okay.
DNA was inconclusive. Detective Duffy called me many times. They couldn't get that connection. Trooper,
Why? Because Mike's been at the house before, correct?
that was one with the DNA.
Right.
He didn't go there. I believe he didn't go there to murder Christopher.
Right. I don't think that he did neither.
He went
but-
there to use his phone and called his drug dealer 100 times.
Mhm.
He had no money. Chris
He was
didn't
desperate.
have, and he took for $50, because you only got $50 for the Xbox. So he took the wires from the Xbox and put them around. That's how he
Right.
murdered Christopher, and wanted them to believe he took his own life. And Trooper Saunders, Katie called Trooper Saunders, and he said, "Who's a drug addict? This kid did not take his own life."
Right.
So they knew from day one it's getting, and we were very lucky that Chris Tarrant, the fifth DA, took it, and it was very circumstantial.
Now, didn't they find the Xbox?
They did, the drug dealer.
How ironic is that?
Right.
He
That's God
finally-
actually walking people over to. How are you going to, through all of that? Because
What-
you're talking many years later,
Yes.
correct?
He found it, and he found the wires or something and put it on, and Christopher already had it on the computer or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So they found him, and he talked, thank God.
Yeah.
And he said $50, and Kelly knew, and she wouldn't turn him in.
Right.
He's better up and did all kinds of things and stuff.
Yeah,
Even-
because it's no longer them anymore.
Mhm.
It's
And
the devil. It's an
it's
evil
not
person.
even them. Thank God he didn't kill anyone else, because he bet up Social Security. He was trying to steal meat to get money for
Mhm.
drugs. He robbed a Chinese place for drugs. So
Well, you
they-
got to think back then, Nancy. They were robbing the pharmacies
Yeah.
at that point.
yeah,
That was like
yeah.
home invasions. They
Mhm.
were kicking your front door in.
Mhm.
5 of them coming in.
Yeah.
It was a really pretty scary time
Mhm.
at that point.
Well, when they got Mike, him and Kelly and someone else were stealing GPSs, and they were following them, and they chased him on 93 and got him, and that got him into jail for now, for
Mhm.
good, until whenever,
Right.
because Detective Duffy will do the work, go to the court, and the court would let him out, or someone would
Mhm.
pay his bail. So if they didn't get him for Christopher, he would have murdered someone else.
Yeah, eventually, because he was on a rampage.
Yeah.
you know.
And the thing for me is that Christopher died the same projects I grew up in. And they did the projects over, so where my building was is actually where Christopher's building was. Lived there for 16 years.
Right.
And when we all got together, we all knew each other. Keithy said, if you knew Mike, I said, I know, but you know what?
I mean, it's the craziest thing, and that's why I
'Cause
said
we
no one.
all knew each other.
No one won
No.
out of that deal.
No.
It destroyed
Yeah.
2 families.
Right.
It destroyed.
Right.
And,
And a little girl, because they still have a little girl.
right.
The father's in jail and the mother's, you know,
Right.
she got charged for lying to the DA.
Mm-hmm.
She did testify, but she didn't, whatever. She was in recovery. She relapsed. And she was supposed to, I called the DA's advocate and said, I seen that she, you know, did something in Somerville. Are you going to call her in? Because that's breaking your probation. They called her in. They gave her a chance. I don't know where she is now. But karma's going to get her.
Yeah, and it always does. But when you finally actually got the justice for Christopher, how did you feel about all of that? I mean, because it must have been a complete whirlwind for all them years.
Yeah, it was. I was the one that took care of everything. I was the one that went to the police department. I was the one that talked to the detectives every weekend, or if there was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
When we got justice, like when I got home Wednesday, it was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and the jury got the case. So it was a roller coaster. And I think it was Monday we came back, and it was 4 o'clock. And usually we called up and they say they got the verdict. And we just like went, you know, we were just all, his mother, my sister, I think his brother Tommy, we were just like, I don't know if Tommy was in there, and we didn't know. We really, really thought it was not guilty because it's a circumstantial case, and it was. All his public defender had to do was reasonable doubt, and he didn't, and thank God he didn't, because they had the case for like 4 hours or something, and it was guilty, and we just was like so emotional. We didn't know to cry, to yell, to, you know.
There must be like a release of all that pain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To get justice is a blessing. It really is. I've watched the Mother's Day walk with the Peace Institute they do, and a lot of families don't get the justice.
Right.
And the Peace Institute helps over 5,000, and of course now you got how many already in Massachusetts murdered,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
just in Boston.
Right.
And they help you from day one. They'll help you with the funeral. They'll help you with everything. They gave us a book. We were 2 years into it. They helped us with anything. And the other 500 we wanted to give to them. And they were on Dorchester Ave in a building. You wouldn't even know. They got a house. It's their home now. It was a purple house. And I didn't realize it, but it was on Christopher Ave,
Oh my God.
Wow.
or Christopher Terrace.
Right.
And they needed a sign.
And you know, purple's recovery.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
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 So, and it was a dead end.
Mm.
So we decided, we talked to them, and they needed a sign. And we paid half of the sign in Christopher's name. And every year, we haven't gone in a couple of years, but they have like an annual thing or whatever. So we've gone there. And we do keep in touch.
Yeah. Now you guys also do a scholarship
Yes.
for Christopher also.
No, we don't do it for Christopher.
Okay.
We do it, my family has a mass fundraiser. So we're very involved in Somerville community.
Yeah.
We had 16th year. My brother Edmund, which everyone knows, had
yeah.
MS. He didn't die from MS. I've had MS for 17 years. And we do. We have a annual dancing type thing,
Right.
Dante Club, and we give 2 500 book awards to Somerville
Nice.
High School.
Yeah.
And we look for people that need it, especially if they're, because we, as a family, we're in the projects and stuff.
Yeah.
In the 10th year, we gave 3 away.
Nice.
And the first time we went, there was like maybe 15 sponsors. Now there's like 8. And we will continue to do that.
Yeah.
And the other money goes to Accelerated Cure Project for MS and research.
Nice. Now you guys are having something soon, aren't you?
2
things actually, right? You guys are doing a run for Jane's.
Yes. No, they're not doing a run. They're doing, it's in August. Jane's nephew, Mike, died of an overdose. So Medford Overcoming Addiction is sponsoring it. It's in Medford. I don't know the details, but there's going to be a flyer out and
Yeah,
stuff
you
like
can.
that.
I actually got the flyer. Jane sent it to me. So if you want to go on Somerville Overcoming Addictions Facebook, it's there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then helping Mary DeMarco from Elisa's Angels.
And Mary's been a guest of ours. Yeah.
Yes.
I love Mary.
And she really wants to do something, and she has so much going on. And I said, Mary, I can help you. I know fundraising. So she said, would you do that? I said, my cousin, will do the flyer and the tickets. We'll just meet with her. She'll give you a good deal or donate it. We got a DJ. It's going to be August 4th. And I believe it's in Knights of Columbus. I want to say Wakefield, whatever. But once a flyer, we will get that on some Overcoming Addiction. And it's just what she wants to do with it is for addiction, especially the women that go to prisons don't get nothing.
Right.
So she wants to do care packages.
Yeah.
She's wonderful. She, she does.
Yeah. Now she had lost her daughter. 9 months pregnant with her granddaughter. She lost both on that. Anne has her granddaughter. And the amount of energy that she has is amazing to keep the spirit of her daughter alive. I know she attends
all kinds
everything.
of things.
She attends everything, and it's a way to heal and healing. And I know that that addiction doesn't touch just one of us. It usually ripples down.
Right.
And it's everyone there to help each other. And that's the good thing about it.
And like Pat, where she had lost her daughter Bernie, and now she struggles with her grandson, and that's hard because you have one grandson that's very good. And then you have one grandson that's not,
and I have a son.
And you have a
that's
son,
out there.
right? Right. Okay. Actually, I forgot about him, but yeah. And that must be, that must be hard to kind of.
Yeah.
Like what makes that happen? How can you live in the same house and the same people, same everything, and that happen to you? I have someone in my family that suffers from addiction, also, and it's like. How could same friends, same everything? I'm like, what is happening? A lot of times, it's a trauma that that it happens. That one person might like have your ability to be like, and then somebody else is just like they just like a sponge, and they suck in all that negativity and they drown in it.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they find comfort in that drink or that smoke, or or whatever. And it's truly disheartening to see young children struggle, and especially your grandson struggles for a long time. trying to understand what was happening parent-wise,
Right.
why am I here, and
Right.
you know, I know that my grandson suffers terribly from it, and we trying to waterproof him. I tell him all the time, you gotta put your armor on, then you put your rain jacket on, because whatever doesn't roll off you will bounce off you. I said that layer yourself, because it's just gonna keep coming and coming and coming, and it does, and it's amazing the strength that you endure. Like you said, if you don't suffer, if you don't know anybody in your immediate family that suffers it, it's tragic. And now, you know, doing the show, we've had people come on that I'm actually would like to start talking to siblings.
Yeah.
We had this one woman on the show, one of her daughters suffered from addiction. The other daughter hates her. Hates her, hates the daughter, hates her sister, and because she was no one at my soccer games, no one there for me. Christmas was always ruined. No one had my birthday because it was all about you.
Exactly.
And you know, and now she's moved away, going to college, and it's hard because the mom was just like, how did I not see me doing that? And the blame game,
Right.
and then all of a sudden you got all these guilty stuff like, oh, maybe I should have done this, and people don't realize that
It's part of the disease.
it's like you said, it
Right.
doesn't affect just one person.
Right.
It starts in your basement, it starts swirling, and it rips all the
Everything.
stones, the
Exactly.
more everything, and it works itself up. And it doesn't care what color you are,
Exactly.
how old you are, what your sex is. It doesn't even care if you don't even have a sex.
Yeah.
It's just gonna ruin you. When people ask, like, oh, how's so and so? I'm always like, I'm afraid to say it out loud because I'm afraid that he's gonna hear me, and that he's gonna come and take and do like round 3, and I'm skittish of it all right now. I don't handle stress at all very well.
Got enough of it.
Yeah, and the minute I even remotely think something's going down, it's like I got hives. I'm like, oh my God, and like I'm a basket person to where I was always so cool as a cucumber, and I was able to handle a lot of things that I'm beautifully broken. Yeah, and as crazy as it is, can you believe we only have 5 minutes left of our show for an hour? I always tell everybody that it's just really totally amazing that
You go then.
that it goes that far. But so we're gonna do for Pat that Naranon meetings at the Spalding Hospital on Wednesday nights at what time?
7 to 9.
7 to 9. So if you're looking for somebody just to to talk to and things like that, it's a great group. And then Nancy, do you
We do the Circle of Hope on.
on Facebook?
Yeah.
So if you go on Facebook, goes under Circle of Hope. If you have something that you want to say, sometimes it is easier saying it cloaked in darkness that people don't see.
Yeah, Jane's got a
And,
lot of responses.
Right, and not only that, sometimes you're up in the middle of the night
Yeah,
and you got nothing to do but think.
yeah,
And it's like, my witching hour is at 4 a.m.
yeah,
I'm on the computer. It is amazing the people that answer me back.
yeah.
Wow.
Amazing. Carmen Dwyer, she's from Quincy. This woman posts things at 4 o'clock every morning, and I swear she lives with me. I don't know where she is in my house, but she is there because she is spot on all the time, and I just
Wow.
cannot get over it. I'm just like, how did you know? Or she'll, type something like lights on, and I'm like, oh, lights off, and who's out, roll call, who's there, and things
Right.
like that. So
But you need that. Everybody needs that emotional support to get through this.
they really do, and
They really
she
do.
doesn't see me, so I can be anybody that I want typing that. I could cry, I could
Right.
start, wait a little while, finish it. So I mean, it's thank you for doing that, Nancy. You know, thank you for being the bigger person in the whole situation, because I know it must have been very, very hard for your family. Even backlash
Yeah.
of people that are like on this side or who's on that side, because there isn't any side. Because like I said, it affected,
Right.
and it took everybody with it. I want to actually, before we do anything, we want to thank you guys so very much for
Oh,
coming
you're
out.
welcome. Thank you for
You
inviting
know, and
us.
taking the time out and things like that. I'd like for you to share that information with you for the statewide vigil, to let you have a part of that with us,
Okay.
as Somerville Overcoming Addiction. And at least this way, I feel that I'm going to accomplish something doing this,
Right.
because I think too many vigils is one
Exactly.
every other day, everywhere, and you can't be everywhere. So, and I know that when you do Everett, you've said names
Yes.
at Everett. So I
Yes.
mean, you travel.
We've been to Everett.
Yeah,
we've
we've
been
been
to
to Everett.
Everett.
It's just so
Right.
funny because me and Jimmy ended up on the front page of the Everett newspaper. Patty Scalise, you just can't get rid of you, Judy. I'm like, that's such. I'm like,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. But yeah, I mean, so it's going to be a pretty amazing thing. Hopefully, it will go off without a hitch, and which it should. So I'd like you to, to at least have a piece of that, Pat, so that you
I'll
can
pass it
feel.
along, too.
That you can feel that we've accomplished
Yeah.
something here, because this is a tough part of the
Yes, it is.
neighborhood. People don't want to recognize it. People don't want to understand it. And then you have people that have the authority to help you, refuse to. And then they tell you, oh yeah, that we're going to. So we want to wish everybody a really good, happy, safe week on a Monday. Again, guys, thank you so very much. It's going to be the longest minute in the whole wide world until this is off.
I just want to say that you and Joanne have done amazing
Thank
work.
you.
Amazing work.
Thank you.
Having all these people on, spreading the word. You can't help your son, but you can help all these
Right.
others.
Yeah, you can what they always
And
say.
I
Just
know
one, right?
what you go through and what Joanne has, and you still make the time.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you do amazing work, and
Thank you.
so
God
proud
bless
of
You too. I mean,
Yeah,
all of us,
proud.
we're
Yeah.
warriors. We really are. And
Yes.
it's like, that's why I love bringing you guys out, exposing you guys out here, letting
Yeah.
people know who they are and stuff, and that there's something for everybody. No one has to, because there's always hope.
Yeah.
There's always hope. So we're set, right, Rue?